Once, I was playing guitar for this gig, and I broke a string right in the middle of our sound check. Now, while this could have been a really big crisis, it was turned into only a mild inconvenience because I knew how to change my own guitar strings. This is one of the many very good things about knowing how to change your own guitar strings. Not only can it save you stress, but it also will save you a lot of money in the long term. I've been playing guitar for over 10 years now and maintaining my guitars for just about that long, and I've saved nearly $1,000 by knowing how to share and change out my own strings. Through some audience analysis, I found out that many of you are interested in knowing how to play guitar, and some of you already play guitar and are interested in knowing how to maintain your guitar on your own. So, for this topic, we will be going over when to change guitar strings, what strings you should select, and the 2x2x2 method of changing out guitar strings. Let's start out with when to change guitar strings. There are three reasons for changing guitar strings that we're going to go over right now. The first being the most obvious. If you break a guitar string, then it would be a great idea to replace it promptly. Now, we're going to keep in mind that when this happens, you can choose to only change out one string or the whole set, depending on how long it's been on there. More of that in a minute. Another reason you might choose to change your guitar strings is because they've started to corrode. This can happen either because of frequent playing or because of neglect over time. It's important to change your strings in this case before they damage the fretboard of your guitar. The final reason why we might change the guitar strings, I call the 3 T's. And those are tuning, tone, and timing. If your guitar strings just aren't holding a tune, or if they just don't sound the way you want them to sound, or maybe you've just had them on there for a really long time and they're starting to get worn out, it'd be a great idea to change them out for a fresh set. Let's transition and talk a little bit about what kind of strings to get. This can probably be one of the most confusing parts of changing out your guitar strings because a quick Google search will yield thousands of results of different kinds of guitar strings. The first way that you start to narrow down those results is considering the material out of which the guitar strings are made. For example, if you're playing an acoustic guitar, you'd probably want to go with some copper or brass strings. However, if you're playing a nylon string guitar, you'd want nylon strings. Or if you're playing an electric guitar, steel or nickel strings would be most appropriate. The other way you begin to narrow down your selections is by considering the gauge of string that you want. In general, less experienced players will choose lower gauge strings because they're easier to play, whereas more experienced players may choose higher gauges of string because it affords them much more control and stability. For a new electric guitar player, it's recommended to get an 8 or 9/100th of an inch string at the 8th E string, or for an acoustic player, 10 to 11/100th at the high E tends to be recommended. Now that we've considered all this preliminary information, let's get to the actual changing of the strings using the 2x2x2 method. In the 2x2x2 method, we consider the guitar in 2 sets of strings, 2, 2, and 2. We begin first by using a string cutting tool to cut the top 2 strings. With the kind of bridge that I have here, the Tune-O-Matic bridge, this is very simple. I just loosen the tuning peg to an appropriate tension and then remove the strings and discard them in an appropriate receptacle. The next part is placing the new string onto the guitar. This is done on this kind of bridge by threading it through the bridge, bringing it up the neck of the guitar, and then placing it through the tuning hole. You always want to insert from the inside to the outside, and then when you wind the guitar string, also ensure that it's wrapping from the inside. You would then repeat this process for the second string that you had just cut, and then repeat this process a second time and a third time for the next 2 sets of strings. This is the fastest and cleanest way to do changing of guitar strings. It prevents additional weight being taken off of the neck during the changing of your guitar strings. So now you guys know how to change your guitar strings. by first of all knowing when to change them, then what to restring your guitar with, and then how to use the 2x2x2 method to change out your guitar strings in a quick and satisfactory way. This saves you lots of money over the life of your guitar and can prevent many hassles along the way. So go ahead, go out, buy a new set of guitar strings, and put them on your guitar and start playing. Thank you.